And welcome back to Atheists on Air Beyond the Trailer Park. This is episode 5, and we are going to talk about weird religions and weird shit that people do in the name of religion. So, as always, joining me is my co-host Beth.
Howdy, howdy.
And our special guest tonight is Wesley Bonetti from Atheist Nomads. Welcome, Wesley.
Hello, how you doing?
Awesome. So, tonight, to start things off, I'm going to hand things over to Beth, and she has a particular dumbass weirdo that she would love to rant to you guys about. So, take it away, Beth.
Well, let's see how to put this. Deb asked me to pick out some weird people to talk about, and for me, that's like pretty much everybody I blog about. But one in particular, and those of you that follow me know who it's going to be. It's Stephen J. Anderson out of Arizona, who thinks that me, along with many of the people I know, should be killed because we're homosexual. So the problem is with Anderson. He admits he's never gone to school for any type of theology, any type of religious training. And he bases his case on Leviticus 20, kill them in the end, is what it comes down to. And he bases it on the word abomination. And this is the problem I have with religion and religionists and people that follow these religions. Whether it's a crazy cult, whether it's some of the ones we're going to talk about tonight, is that people blindly follow these people and they have no clue what they're talking about. So that's the person I think is crazy. You can add Gordon Klingenschmitt to that list as well. But here's what it comes down to. Abomination, to borrow from Princess Bride, it don't mean what you think it means. And if Stephen J. Anderson, who admits to reading the Bible through, so far only one time according to his website, but I'm pretty sure it's more than that, who admits that he has 120 chapters of the Bible memorized, obviously doesn't know what he's reading. He doesn't know Greek, he doesn't know Hebrew, but yet he thinks he knows what the Bible says. Abomination does not mean what he thinks it means. And what's funny is I've been following him for about 2.5 years now, and he's gotten more publicity on this, although negative, but he's loving every minute of it. He thinks it's funny. He thinks telling people that they should be put to death and executed because they have AIDS or HIV is funny. I don't. Hopefully you guys don't either. And from what I understand, there was another article that just came up today while I was at work. People have been going to his website and leaving nice little comments. So stupid is as stupid does. And that's my crazy person.
You're on mute.
Oh.
No. There we go. Sorry. Wrong button. But yeah, I mean, it's just crazy to think that, well, you're different and I don't like you, so kill you all. Lovely.
Yeah, and regretfully, a lot of religions are like that. I mean, we all know, I mean, specifically Islam is as well. Judaism, not so much, but Christianity, yeah. I mean, and the sad thing is, I came out way back in the 80s. And I started when I was a Bible and theology major in college. This is what I started studying, and this actually wasn't the issue why I left the church. Mm-hmm. I mean, back in the day, homosexuality in general is basically, it's a sin. Then when I got to college in the early 80s to mid 80s, that's when the condemnation started. Yeah. But nothing like the vitriol we see today. Then about 1992 is when the hate started. And it's gotten worse ever since. I mean, there are people within Christianity specifically, and that's who I focus on, that have literally said that gays should be killed. Gordon Klingenschmitt has said it. Stephen Anderson has said it. Pat Robertson has insinuated it. You know, and these are people with power, for lack of a better word. But what's really sad is there's people sitting in the pews, clapping,
Yeah.
hooping and hollering. There was a video he put out about a year and a half ago about, well, it started out what piqued my interest, and he called President Obama's mother a whore. Okay? Now, whether you like Mr. Obama or not, that's beside the point. The point is he called his mother a whore. And depending how deep into the bullshit stuff from the right, that doesn't, you don't call someone a whore. Not when you're a preacher.
And I had seen a meme go by a couple weeks ago. It was supposed to be these like naked pictures of Obama's mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, who the hell cares?
Yeah.
Like,
well,
what?
Yeah, exactly. Who cares?
And what does that have anything to do with whether Obama is a decent president? Like, so what?
What does that even have to do with whether or not his mother's a decent person?
Exactly.
Even if they are her pictures. Who gives a
Exactly. Exactly.
And the sad thing is, in this video, it was a short video clip. It was 1 minute and 31 seconds, and he posted it. Okay, this was not coming from like Right Wing Watch, who only he posted just this clip focusing on this aspect, and that's what caught my attention was the horror part. But as I sat and listened to him, he started quoting from Judges, the Deborah and Barak story, and trying to insinuate in the story that President Obama was named after a weak character in the Bible, namely Barak. But if you really know the story of Deborah and Barak, he was saying, oh, he was weak because he needed a woman at his side. Well, Deborah was one of the judges. She was a prophetess in the Old Testament. And if you know your Jewish history, women within the Jewish culture are very, very highly prized. So he took a story he knew nothing about and twisted it, and the people, his congregation, were clapping, they were hooping and hollering, amen, ramen. I mean, it was disgusting.
Well, years ago, I frequented a Yahoo group that was ostensibly to debate abortion, but it went over everything. But there was an asshole in that group who he believed not only should homosexuals be killed, but if you support homosexuals, you should be killed. If you have had an abortion, you should be killed. If you support pro-choice, you should be killed. And what was the other one? If you have committed adultery or don't, speak out against it or whatever, you should be killed. And but the ironic part was he had himself cheated on more than one wife. Like, this is stuff he admitted. Had cheated on more than one wife, had driven a girlfriend to get an abortion at some point too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now, yeah.
Yeah. What's sad is, going back to the whole his reliance on the word abomination. Mm-hmm. If you study Leviticus, okay, abomination is used. There's a couple different words that have been translated abomination, but Toba is the one he focuses on, and Toba is basically something that is ritualistically unclean. Okay, right. Certain foods fall into that category. When a woman has a child, for boys it's 7 days. For girls it's 66. That you can't have any contact with her because she's considered unclean. If they're on their period, same thing. Also, Toiba is trimming your beard. He has a beard. Okay. Also, Toiba is cutting your hair. He has a crew cut. So it boils down to, if you're gonna follow Old Testament law, you have to follow them all. You can't just pick out one. And he insinuates, well, he gets into the whole New Testament theology, but he leaves out one really big part, and that's the doctrine of grace, not the tulip of the Calvinism doctrine of grace. It's similar, but he just totally ignores and tries to justify this, and it's just he's proud of himself. His latest interview, I just listened to bits and pieces because I knew it would get me really pissed. He's on a news station, so proud of himself, and that, and the thing is, this type of mentality is not just in Christianity. You'll see it in some, in the cults, especially like Scientology, as we talked about last week. Yes. It's in Mormonism. Just some of the wacky things that people believe without even examining them.
Oh, yeah. There's some really crazy shit out there. As we've noticed, we've been doing some reading about that. Some really crazy shit. So, Wesley, was there anything particularly weird that you've come across or that you read recently that was like, what the fuck is that?
Well, something actually from Friendly Atheist blog, actually. From about a week ago now. Nepal Blood Festival draws to a close. Hindu faithful hack more than 200,000 animals to death.
Yeah, I have seen.
Oh, I forgot
bits of that around. So, what are they trying to accomplish? Is this like a sacrifice to? Well, it's a goddess, isn't it? Do you remember what goddess it is?
Oh crap. I'm trying to read it. Gadhimaya. Yes.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Hindu goddess Gadhimaya works up quite the bloody appetite. Yeah. Basically, they start with goats, go to pigs and buffaloes, roosters. Yeah, they get all these animals into a small area, and a whole bunch of people with knives and swords, whatever, and just hack whatever is still moving.
Ooh.
And that's considered a sacrifice?
Yeah.
So do they just leave it there to rot, or what do they do?
I don't think they use the meat at all.
Oh, what the hell kind of a mess is that to clean up? Shit. That's just brutal. Because I just had a look here, and there's on Google, there's like a picture, and it's just like as far as the eye can see is like dead animals. Let me see. I'm gonna try something cool. Can I share my screen?
Something that I found was quite interesting was a line that says officials have basically tried to have a crackdown, but they're afraid, basically. If we tell people to stop the sacrifices, they will come kill us.
Yeah. Oh, man. I'm going to share my screen here for a second. Yeah, I know. Isn't that freaky? But check that out. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Like,
that is truly horrible.
That's really, really, really nasty. And they just, who cleans this up?
I'm guessing the health department or some sort of officials. They'll just get, I don't know.
What you would need just truck after truck after truck to clean that shit up.
Yeah, I'm kind of figuring.
I would hope they at least, I don't know,
like a snowplow or something, just...
Yeah, but then where do you put it? You can't dig a hole that big.
They probably shove it in the nearest river.
Oh, goodness. I hope they at least burn them.
Yeah, burning would probably be better.
Yeah, better than having a pile of, giant mountain of carcasses, yeah.
Yeah. And hey, added bonus, if in fact you're wrong and Yahweh existed, I'm sure he'd appreciate the burnt offerings.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought God was done with the barbecues.
I mean, maybe he'd kind of appreciate it anyway. It's not like they're following him, He might say, hey, you Hindus, that's not half bad. Not into that anymore, but thanks anyway.
Like, my stomach can't really handle it anymore. I get some acid. Like, no more barbecues, thanks.
I'll just sit here and sniff the aroma. Can you imagine how disgusting that
What
would be?
torture.
Well, and actually, too, that brings us to another weird Hindu thing is, I mean, they cremate their dead, which is fine, but they also, like, toss bodies in the Ganges, and then they ritually bathe in the same water.
Mm-hmm.
All the time. I mean, I have some appreciation for some Hindu philosophy and some of the pantheon of gods and goddesses I find have some redeeming qualities to them. But the idea of, like, dunking yourself in water that's, full of rotting corpses and ashes of burnt bodies and, I'm sure there's a lot of other nasty things in there. But that's purification,
If you want to call it that, all right.
Yeah, I'll just go take a bath in some beef blood.
Yes.
When it comes to weird religious practices, it's usually the ones that torture animals that get me the most.
Yes.
You can say I'm definitely against hijabs and other, like, just dumb clothing like the Mormons' underwear, but when it comes to torturing animals, that's a big thing for me. That always gets me really bad.
Absolutely. And you think about, well, the southern snake handlers too. I mean,
got a few relatives that do that.
Oh, nice. I mean, yes, they're putting themselves in danger, but you got to think, how many snakes are they keeping, and are they even keeping them in proper conditions for keeping a snake, Because they're just a means to an end for them.
Well, after Jamie Coots died, they went in and took and they've taken his snakes before. Most of them are in such poor health. They had to put him down, and the sad thing is his son is taking after him, and he's already been bitten. It was not even 3 months after his dad died.
Oh, sure.
And that's the sad thing. I mean, these specifically with the snake, these animals are not treated properly. They're not taken care of.
That's actually probably to Coots' benefit. That they're kept in poor health so that they're not, fully, poisonous.
Yeah. Well, that and they're very lethargic.
Yeah.
And I mean, they, I know specifically in Tennessee or Kentucky where he's at, they have been trying to crack down because there was like I think 2 other churches not too far from where his church was or is that also do the snake handling. Yeah, no, they're not. Down in that area, they kind of let them be, but every now and then they'll have a little sweep and they take his snakes.
Well, and you had said, Wesley, there was a particular other practice involving animals that was freaky.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. Something that I hadn't even heard of until we talked to Joshy Berger on my show a while back. There's this practice called Kaparot, which is mostly formed by what I recall it as mostly Hasidic Jews. But basically they grab a chicken, usually by the wings, and basically flail the chicken over their head a few times, and that somehow casts that person's sins into the chicken, and then they slaughter the chicken.
Lovely.
Hopefully, and usually, the chicken is donated to the poor, preferably eaten for a pre-Yom Kippur feast, but that's not always. And yeah,
well, kind of a little bit toward, donating the meat afterwards. There is, I learned this from Paul at Quranify Me, that there is verses in the Quran that specifically state that if you have sex with an animal, you are not considered unclean as long as you immediately slaughter said animal and deliver the meat to the neighboring village.
Yeah, cannot be your own village.
That's right. So, you know, if you're the village and, like, some guy keeps bringing you some free goat, I'd be like, what are you doing?
I was like, I'll take all of it but the intestines and the... You know.
Yes. Yes. I don't want to make sausage with this goat. No, thank you.
I think you've already made sausage with this goat.
Exactly. Yeah. But, you know, to think that Muhammad figured he had to put that shit in the Quran in the first place.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Exactly.
Somebody is fucking their goat, that's what it says.
Yes, indeedy. Well, and just animal in general. In the Quran, it doesn't say goat; it says animal. So,
like, damn, that Bartholomew's sick.
What do you have to do to fuck a camel? Like, how does that work?
Oh, get a step ladder, maybe?
Step ladder, yeah. Make it lay down first, I suppose.
Yeah, you don't want to kick it.
What I don't get with this type of stuff, okay, a couple hundred years ago, you know, I could understand the ignorance to a degree.
Right.
But today?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what type of justification or apologetic would one go through to even justify a verse like that? I mean, how in the world?
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole... It was a different time.
Yeah, different time. But then we've got, you know, 5,000 animals slaughtered in Nepal like that. And that was...
200,000.
200,000. Good God.
Well, it's just like there was, about a week before the one in Nepal came out, there was a Islamic rite, if I remember correctly. I was trying to find the article, where they basically machete themselves in the head. They don't, you know, they slice their foreheads.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what the hell?
Yeah,
that's... I about this last year.
I remember seeing
some
that
kid
too.
only just kind of scratched his arm a couple times, like, see, I did it too. Yay.
Yeah. They showed this kid. The one picture I saw, this kid couldn't have been more than 12 years old, if even that. And he had a gash going from the crown of his, you know, his hairline straight down to the bridge of his nose.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, just drenched in. I mean, and there were kids. I don't know if there were women doing it or not. I can't remember. But definitely, you know, young boys and teenagers and men. I mean, why?
I would say so that the ones that don't do it actually get wives.
Jeez.
Depending on the population a little.
That could do it.
That follows me.
Whoa. Is that your phone? Yeah, that's Beth's phone, I think.
There's a movie that came out a couple of years ago called God Bless America, which is actually an amazing movie.
Mm-hmm.
In a scene, you know, they're talking. One of the guys is saying that anybody that watches one of those TV shows where there's everybody singing contests and everybody has to call in and vote to say who they want to win.
Like America's Got Talent.
Yeah. So if you call in, he wanted some little explosive device on the phone so that if you called in, there'd be a little mark on your face, and you would just know instantly, that's a person I don't want to talk to.
Nice.
And, you know, kind of the same thing with that. You know, like, all right, yeah, big old slice on his body. Yeah, he did that to himself. All right, I don't want to talk to that person.
Because he's...
Shortcut right around.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. So Beth's on the phone there for a minute, so that's okay. We were expecting that.
Yep.
But yeah, the whole animal thing, it's like, you know, they don't know what the hell's going on. They don't give a fuck about religion, and it's like, oh, you know, I'm gonna torture this poor creature for my own purposes, and they have no say in the matter. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the chicken thing, now that you mention it, I was watching a documentary on Netflix, like 3 weeks ago, and it was some Jewish guy in Israel who had some connection to the Holocaust or something, and I don't even remember because I got about halfway through and I wasn't really liking it very much, but I remember that he was performing that ritual on a bunch of people. So instead of the person doing it themselves, he was taking the chicken and, like, you know, swirling it around people's heads, and they kept showing him doing it, and it was kind of gross, and that was part of the reason why I quit watching the movie, because I was like, okay, you've shown him do that, like, because I guess that was his job in the community, and they would film him while he was doing his thing, but I'm like, okay, I've seen enough of that, I don't care what you have to say anymore, because that's just gross. But
yeah, you know, there's people like, okay, this is a long time ago, but Temple Grandin, autistic lady who helped revolutionize the way animals were treated on farms.
I'm familiar with her, yes.
Amazing woman, and, you know, even though she's, like, helping shuttle animals to their death, you know, it is a bit more humane than it used to be, and it's way more humane than just frickin' swinging a chicken around your head and terrorizing the shit out of it.
Yes, and well, and that's one of the problems that a lot of people have with halal meat in Islam is that they just cut the poor thing's throat and let it bleed to death in a horrific manner. And that's supposed to make it better for, you know, Allah wants you to eat it that way. I'm like, well, fuck Allah, he's a bastard. Right? Shit. How about you try that, Allah? See how you like it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's some fucked up shit for sure. But
So how about you? What's some weird religious?
Well, the one that I came across this a few years ago, and I don't remember what I was looking for when I found this, but it is called the Church of Euthanasia. And
what about the euthanasia?
Well, it's run by a lady in, where is it? Boston. And the idea is that there's too many people on the planet, and we shouldn't procreate, and if you're so inclined to kill yourself, that's a good thing too. They're not overly encouraging of the kill yourself, but that is one of their slogans, is save the planet, kill yourself. Another one is eat a queer fetus for Jesus is one of their slogans. I've seen...
Obviously. Wow.
I've seen pictures of them at protests and things, and they have a blow-up sex doll that they put on a cross, and they walk around with that, and they'll get a bunch of, like, plastic baby dolls and barbecue them, and so it's sort of atheistic in that sense, but, you know.
I'm just wondering if they're just trying to troll everybody. This sounds amazing.
I think so. Like, you know, the message of, you know, there's too many people. Like it says here, they do sermons, music, culture jamming, and publicity stunts to attract attention, combined with an underlying sense of satire and black humor to highlight the Earth's unsustainable population. So the idea is they're not really serious about what they're supposedly advocating, but they sure have a lot of shock value, I will say that.
Kind of like the Satanic Church has recently.
Yes, yes. But these guys, I mean, I stumbled upon them on a web search back in the 90s, I think, late 90s, but a long time ago.
It's like 4chan before there was 4chan.
Yeah, exactly. Another one of their slogans I remember was pedophile priest for Jesus was another one. Yeah. And apparently, so anybody out there who, like myself, has chosen not to procreate, that means you're automatically a member of the Church of Euthanasia. So they say.
Wow.
Yep.
All
So
right, guess I'm a member. Yay!
Yay! So if you look them up, the founder is the Reverend Chris Corda. who I believe is also a transgendered person. So so she just will get right out there and say all kinds of weird shit to get attention to their cause. And they certainly do that. So that's a fun one. And the other one that I found when I was doing some research for this was there is a cult in, I believe it's in Africa, that worships Prince Philip, as in the Queen of England's husband. That I did not expect to find.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, so these are, where is it? Yahonan tribe in the southern island of Tana in Vanuatu. So they had a legend that there was a deity who had a pale-skinned son, and this pale-skinned son would travel over the sea to a distant land, marry a powerful lady, and come back to the island. So the Queen and Prince Philip showed up to the island, I believe in the 50s, at some not long, either when she was still a princess or not long after she ascended the throne, and they kind of went, hey, there's a pale-skinned guy who's married to a really powerful lady. That must be our spirit's pale-skinned son. All right. And so they thought about him early on, but then when they actually visited Vanuatu, because remember the pale-skinned son had to return, so
Sure.
they actually paid a visit in 1974, and that's when they were like, oh, it has to be him, he came back. And so now they have a religion worshiping Prince Philip.
Nice.
Yeah. And it says that he is aware of the religion and has actually exchanged gifts with its leader and visited them.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So who knew? Prince Philip is a god.
Well, he is kind of sexy.
Yeah. Well, he's always saying inappropriate shit and getting away with it, too. So. You know.
Well, I thought that was just part of being royalty.
Well, it's
Or at
added.
least just having a camera on you all the time.
That's true. But it's extra special when you're not only, the prince of the realm, but a god of, some weird African tribe. Ah, there's Beth back.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were just we were just talking about the cult of Prince Philip.
Yes, good old Prince Philip. Spooky.
As long as they don't make a cult out of Prince Chuckles and his wife, the Horseface, we're all good.
Yeah, good old Camellia.
Oh, those guys are. It's funny. A couple of years ago, I visited a wax museum in Niagara Falls, and the Camilla wax figure was actually holding a horse by the reins, and I thought, somebody's got a good sense of humor.
The humor, yeah. I wonder if that was intentional. I
don't know, but it was damn funny. I just about lost my shit when I saw that. Oh, so Beth, what weird stuff did you come across that you thought was particular?
Well, one of the articles that you sent talked about the creativity movement.
Right.
And it's actually Rob, who we had on last week. And of course now my computer's going to take forever to load. Actually did a short article on it, and it's a very odd group because they are basically a racial hate group. That's what it comes down to. And they're not very creative.
Well, and from what I saw, didn't they steal the name from an actual religious group?
Yeah, he does mention that, but what he started out with in his article was Rahowa, which basically stands for Racial Holy War. And it's spelled R-A-H-O-W-A. HOWA, and the RH and W are capitalized. And the graphic he put is, if you see the word Rahuwa, run the other way.
I've seen that online before, so yeah.
Yeah, I have seen it off and on. Come on, scroll. But as far as the delineation, I'll just read it. It goes, the registered trademark Church of the Creator is currently in use and owned by T. Tama, Truth Foundation family of URI Incorporated, a non-profit religious organization, encouraging universal love and respect for all people, and is not associated or to be confused with Rahuwa, which was actually started by Ben Klassen. And then taken over, it actually almost died out, and then it was taken over in the 90s, if I remember correctly, by Matthew Hale. And they go by the name Creativity Movement. And basically it's a variant of white supremacist beliefs. But he goes on and explains it, and I'll post the link after the show on our group page, but come on, scroll. Yeah, they're just a real... I'm having issues with my computer lately. They're just a real... I mean, I do follow the white supremacy movement because it's a... or the Christian identity movement because it ties into sovereign citizenry, but basically, you know...
They're a big bag of dicks.
Yes. But their fundamental belief is this. We believe that our race is our religion. We believe that the white race is nature's finest. We believe that racial loyalty is the highest of all honors, and racial treason is the worst of all crimes. We believe that, yeah. What it is they're actually an atheistic group. Which really boggles the mind. So race is their god, basically, is what it boils down to. And it gets really twisted.
Their idea that we're somehow the best created, I'm sorry, but anybody who's as pale as me and stands in the sun for 5 fucking minutes knows that's true.
Yeah. But yeah, they have 16 commandments, not 10. And,
how many of them are useful?
I was going to say, do they have, like, don't rape people in there? Or...
Let's see. It is a vowed duty and holy responsibility of each generation to assure and secure for all time the existence of the white race. Not really useful. Be fruitful and multiply. Do your part to populate the world with your own kind. Gee, I wonder where we got that from. Yeah, for an atheistic group. Remember that and this is really with any of the white supremacist groups, and I'm not talking just KKK. I'm talking the ones that go beyond the KKK.
Yep.
Remember the inferior mud races, our deadly enemies, and the most dangerous of all is the Jewish race. It is our immediate objective to relentlessly expand the white race. Well, I'm sorry. But most of the Jews I know are Caucasian.
Yep.
I mean, yes, the Middle Eastern have a Mediterranean tone to their skin, but they're still considered Caucasian. So I just, yeah, but yeah, no, there's not too many useful commandments in this one. I don't even think they say thou shalt not kill.
Of course, because they want to kill people they don't like, I'm sure.
Yeah.
The way that Ben Klassen guy shortens words, I think it just feels like he was either military or he just really is a big conspiracy nut. And likes the way that the government shortens words.
Yeah, I think he was actually, if I remember correctly, ex-military. And off the top of my head, I think he also has a tie-in with L. Ron Hubbard as well as Aleister Crowley. And I'm doing that from memory, so I might be.
Ooh, interesting little tidbit. L. Ron Hubbard actually lived in my town for quite a few years when he was growing up, of Bremerton, Washington.
I'm trying to...
Cool.
But yeah, that one kind of caught my eye because Rob had written it up, and I do follow the white supremacy movement.
Yeah.
And it just, to me, it's just for anybody to say that. I mean, and it goes back to my thing with Anderson too. Mm-hmm. You're picking out stuff to support your hatred.
That's right.
For another person or another religion or another race.
Yep.
No.
Yeah. Well, here's a fun one that I saw. Now, pronouncing this is going to be killer, but I'm going to try this. Nuwaubianism. Nuwaubianism. And it says it's an umbrella term used to refer to doctrines and teachings of some guy named Dwight York. But it started as a black Muslim group in the 70s, and they've done a lot of changes. But now it's talking about the list of philosophies that they follow is just ridiculous. Like, uses New Age, Astara, Rosicrucians, Freemasons, Shriners, Moorish Science Temple.
Yep, there it is.
Christianity, Islam, a cult of Mirza, some other shit that I can't pronounce. But what made me laugh was they actually listed some of their commandments. And these
forget ancient astronauts.
Oh yes, of course. From Ancient Aliens. Is that?
Oh no.
I have to say, I have never watched that. I will never watch that. But listen to this. So, out of their commandments, it's important to bury the afterbirth so that Satan does not use it to make a duplicate of a recently born child.
Oh, God.
So Satan's into cloning. All right. Some aborted fetuses that survive their abortion live in the sewer where they are being gathered and organized to take over the world.
Stephen King said.
Weren't we talking about butt babies the other day?
Yes.
Right in the sewers.
Right in the sewers. People were once perfectly symmetrical and ambidextrous, but then a meteor struck the Earth, tilting the axis, and that's why we have right or left-handedness and a shifting. That's why our heart is not in the center anymore, because a meteor hit the Earth. That's a good one.
Makes perfect sense.
It does. Oh, and this one I love. Each of us has 7 clones living in different parts of the world. So apparently there's a bunch of heretic clones out there. So, hello, clones.
Oh, Lord help y'all if there's more than one of them.
What else we got here? Oh.
Come on. I number 8. The Illuminati nurtured a child, Satan's son, who was born on the 6th of June, 1966, at Dakota House on 72nd Street. They know the actual address. In New York City to get this, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, Jackie O, of the Rothschild Kennedy families. The Pope was there for the birth, performed the necromantic ceremonies. Child was raised by former U.S. President Richard Nixon and now lives in Belgium, where it's hooked up bodily to a computer called the Beast M3 or 3666.
Yes. Isn't that great? I like
my.
Number 5. This is a good one. I like number 5. Women existed for many generations before we invented men through genetic manipulation.
Yeah, maybe.
This is like a cross between Ancient Aliens, the Nephilim, or Nephilim scripted as I call it, via Tom Horn and Dan Quill.
And just a bunch of weird bullshit.
And then you got the Illuminati in there.
Yes.
And the Pope and NWO bullshit.
My. Homo sapiens is a result of cloning experiments that were done on Mars using Homo erectus.
But apparently Nikola Tesla wasn't one of them because he came from Venus.
He came from Venus. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm surprised this one hasn't come up with my research.
I know!
Thanks a lot, heretic.
Thanks! You're welcome.
Oh.
That's some seriously fucked up shit.
Wow. Okay, I thought the Raelians were bad.
Oh, Raelians! Tell us about Raelians. Those are fun too.
Well, they're the actual original ancient
Silly
alien
cult.
proponents. Basically, they came out about a year or two before Eric von Däniken and Zechariah Sitchin. And supposedly Claude Vilhorn, and I'm probably slaughtering his name, he was a French race car driver, Formula One driver.
Oh no, yeah, the mountains.
Yes. In 1968, he wrote his, I think it was 68, he wrote his book where supposedly the Elohim, when he considers them plural, and this is where the whole ancient alien bullshit comes in, came down and basically dictated to him his book, explaining all the secrets of the world and why we were created. And I don't have anything pulled up on this, so I can't read you any quotes or any juicy bits, but basically think of what Sitchin wrote in The 12th Planet. And Von Däniken then stole all that and wrote his book. And that, I mean, but it is actually the first ancient alien, well, except for Scientology.
Yeah.
But, and that's what people don't realize, like these alien cults or alien religions actually are not new.
No.
They go back actually to Aristotle. And,
wow.
yeah, I mean, but they had a resurgence in 1850 for a while when, during the Victorian, at the end of the Victorian era with H.G. Wells and drawing the blank on the other name, and then it kind of rejuvenated first with the Raelians, and then Sitchin, of course, and then Von Däniken, and now, I mean, obviously that's on the History Channel.
Well, I'm surprised if they're using the word Elohim that they haven't been sued by the Mormons, because that's Mormon God is Elohim.
Well, Elohim is actually in the Bible. I mean, it's used.
Okay.
So, but the problem is everybody interprets Elohim as a plural. So they're saying that there's more than one God, when in actuality there's two schools of thought. There's the Divine Council school, which is based on Psalm 81. But the problem is those that some that propose that idea are also to the whole UFO, alien visitation, the Nephilim, and all that stuff. And then there's just, if you want to go straight up Hebrew, it's getting into the Hebrew grammar where it is actually only a singular. It's just the way it's spelled.
Right.
And that's where I have a problem with Sitchin, and yes, I do research the ancient alien, don't ask why. But my problem with his work is, besides the fact that he's a fraud, is that he says that he translated Elohim as that which that came down. And that is not even remotely what it means. And all the ancient alien, or a lot of your alien religions, are based on that, on his misinterpretation.
Nice.
I wanted to add to that French village, though. I remember doing a This Day in History about this, and it was talking about Bougarac, France.
Pic de Bougarage.
And yeah, and basically the entire world will be destroyed except for that one town on this mountainside that aliens actually live under the mountain, and they will save that one town.
Yeah,
but,
I did a podcast on that.
But that one day was supposed to be back in 2012.
Yeah,
so
and see that
still here.
To take that for the peak, they call it the upside down mountain, and basically the people that follow the Mayan prophecy, the 2012 BS, it's Major John Jenkins' work that they are basing it on. And what they did is they said that it was a volcano, which it's not, and that it blew its top and it flipped upside down and it's kind of flat on top and the aliens live inside. But yeah, that was real big during the 2012 BS. it gets into a lot of the really strange stuff. I did about a 20-minute podcast on that.
Wow.
Pretty wild.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, here's a fun one. Some group called the Body of Christ, and they rely on direct revelation, and they don't use the Bible. So at least they're, well, I don't know if that's smarter or not. They're waiting for God to tell them shit instead of the Bible, but
Sounds like the Mormons so far.
yeah. Well, this is interesting because they this is back in like 2000, but a couple of the children of members, and one of them was like the leader's child. Of course, they died because they were waiting for a sign from God to tell them that they should feed the children.
Sure.
Yeah. Man. So yeah, and that goes into like the Church of, what is it, Christian Science. They're the ones that are like, oh well, we don't go to a doctor. We're just gonna pray that God's gonna make people better. I have to wonder, because obviously every damn time that is going to have failed to some degree. Why do they still do that?
Wait, you're saying that olive oil and prayer doesn't help a person?
It doesn't. Funny enough.
Damn it.
It helped the dude that sat in his bedroom for 6 months as a corpse.
We're gonna get to that one. Well, and actually, before that, there was a yogi in India.
Oh, I know this one.
Yes, where he was like sitting. He died. And
the frozen.
Yes!
The popsicle.
Popsicle yogi.
What's sad about that is his followers is fighting the family. They're, I don't know if the court case has been resolved yet over whether he's dead or alive or just meditating. They actually took it to the court.
Well, there's millions upon millions of dollars at stake.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would fight too.
Yeah. And it's the followers are fighting over the funds, and the family wants to declare him dead or something.
Because they want to bury him or burn him.
God, dude's just asleep. You know?
Yeah. I remember when that story popped. I just sat there like staring at my monitor, like seriously.
That just could bring a whole other level to the Dead Parrot sketch. He's just meditating. He's had a very busy weekend. He's a little bit cold.
He's a very naughty boy.
That too. I love that line.
Different movie, but still.
Different movie, but very, very good. He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy.
That is definitely my top 10.
That is my favorite Python movie.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that has to be Monty Python.
Yes,
People
that
give
is.
me shit for liking that one the best. But
No, it is the
that
best.
one's my favorite.
Me too, because it tells the truth and it shows religion for what it is.
Yeah, aliens and all.
Exactly. Ha! He's like, would you just fuck off? How shall we fuck off, oh Lord? and my favorite is when they find his gourd and the sandal, and they're fighting over whether they should worship the gourd or just wear one sandal because it has to be a sign. And meanwhile, he's thrown the gourd to run faster and dropped one of his sandals because he's trying to get the fuck away from them.
Poor Brian.
Poor Brian, indeed.
I remember when that movie came out. I'm dating myself here. My brother and I sat there and watched it. Now, you got to remember, I grew up in a very fundamentalist household, so we were probably sneaking this. My brother's 4 years older.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of sat there, I mean, maybe 12. just like laughing hysterically because even though, I mean, it just made sense to me.
Absolutely.
But it was another 16 years before I left the church.
Yeah. I was like, and biggest dickus? What's so funny about biggest dickus? Throw him to the floor.
Good Lord, women, do you have that whole movie memorized?
Almost.
Yes.
We swagger the wubba. Oh,
I'm gonna have to watch that tonight now.
Wadwick? Do we have any Wadwick?
Wee Swadwick. Oh shit, that was awesome. And don't forget the People's Front of Judea.
No.
Not the People's Judean Front. Fucking splitters.
Oh, yeah.
That's a classic. Definite classic. Love it. But let's see, what else have we got? There was some weird shit I came up with.
Well, this one.
Well, before we leave the corpses, then we gotta talk about the dead guy in Hamilton.
Oh, goodness.
Because anybody knows Hamilton is just down the road from where I live. I thankfully don't go there often, but so there was a family who were ridiculously over the top Christians, and I'm gonna share this for so it's gonna go into infinity here for a second, but I'm gonna show this picture.
I'm just gonna say that all the rest of Christians just aren't Christian enough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you guys see this?
Oh yeah.
So this is the van that the family in question was driving. And you can almost see it. They actually carved crosses in the plastic headlights as well. Just for, added effect. You have your projected cross down the highway there. So,
not dangerous at all. Okay.
Oh no, not at all. So these people, there was a mother, father, and something like 5 or 6 children and 7 other friends who were living in this house. And in January of this year, this is a while. The reason it's back in the news is because the woman was sentenced recently. But they tried to evict the family from the rented home. Come to find out that she had locked up one of the bedrooms, and the reason she locked up one of the bedrooms is that her husband had died some 6 or 8 months earlier, and she left his body, walled up in this room. Now, we've all heard stories about that kind of shit before, and 9 times out of 10 that happens because whoever's still living there wants to keep collecting their welfare, the Social Security or whatever. That tends to be the reason why that happens. Occasionally it's just because the person who's left is too fucked up to deal with it and they just don't want to deal with it. But no, not this family. This family walled up to, well, first of all, the guy died because he was diabetic and he had, his leg was going gangrenous, and instead of going to the doctor, he prayed over it. So that worked really well because now he's a rotted corpse. And so his wife, in her infinite wisdom, walled up the corpse, and the family proceeded to then pray every day that God would resurrect him. Yeah. So
I got something I have to get out there.
Okay.
There's a show called Archer.
Yes.
And all I keep on thinking is, do you want ants? This is how we get ants.
Oh
my God.
I can just imagine the rat population that was living in that room.
I can only hope.
Yeah.
At least they would be getting rid of the body little by little.
Yeah. Well, and I guess they were going by the wife's reason why he died, because they can't really even tell for sure because there wasn't that much left of him. So, yeah.
Oh,
'Cause
really? Ooh.
It just says he was in, quote, an advanced state of decomposition.
Oh, 6 months, yeah.
At
Well,
least.
yeah, if he had the gangrene would have done it.
Well,
Yeah.
it says
Well,
here.
I think
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
what got me was she just didn't know any better. She was putting her trust in God, after all.
Well, yeah, but I mean, okay. When he starts to rot, I'm thinking that, God may have decided to go in another direction at that point.
Yeah, and that direction is down into hell.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
if he's not resurrected within a couple weeks, he's probably not getting back up.
Exactly.
He probably did
So
something bad.
they said he died.
Unless he's a zombie.
Yeah. Well, if he's with Jesus, that's entirely possible. Birds of a feather.
True.
But it said here that he died. They figured around March 20th of 2013.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh my gosh.
and I think they were trying to evict the family in January. Oh, no, wait. No, until September. Sorry. So he was in there from March to September when the sheriff came to evict them because they defaulted on the mortgage. And she was living there with 6 children. 6 children. And a corpse. Yes.
And didn't you say there was some family friends?
Yeah,
It's starting to sound like a commune to me.
I bet it was to some degree.
Yeah.
I bet it was. Now, this is interesting. Yeah. So she was charged, and I forget what she was charged with initially, but she was just recently convicted, like within the last week or so, and the only thing they convicted her of was failing to report a dead body. Yeah. And so she got 18 months probation and a suspended sentence, probably because she still has 6 children to take care of.
Yeah. I think those 6 children would do better in state care.
Probably,
well,
yes.
The one article I read real briefly on it, that was an issue that was brought up about the children. I mean, what are they going to be taught?
Yeah.
And like they were saying, she didn't know any better. And that's where, blind faith in religion. And it's blind faith.
Exactly. Like,
she's following,
how wrapped up in that shit do you have to be to believe that your husband's rotting corpse is going to somehow come back to life?
Well, I want to take that back a little bit, just because she's waiting for her husband, the guy that's been taking care of her, I'm guessing, that's kind of might have brainwashed her a bit, hoping that he comes back to give her orders, to give her commands, because she doesn't know what the fuck to do.
True.
Well, and I was wondering that too with the 6 children. Right there to me, 6 children, and like what you just said, Wesley, was probably very patriarchal.
Yeah, she's lost.
You get that cultish mentality. It's like. Yeah. But, that's just following blindly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Scary.
Absolutely.
Scary for the kid.
Oh.
Well, yeah. Could you imagine, like, where's Daddy? Well, Daddy's not coming into the bedroom. Well, why? Well, we're waiting for Jesus, And
Daddy's a zombie, just like I have, right?
Yeah. And the smell,
well, depending on the temperature, bodies start smelling kind of cinnamony once they get dried out in the warm. But if it's up there, that's got to be pretty rank.
It was the 2nd floor, and the time frame was March to September, which is summer. And this part of Canada, and Hamilton's probably worse because they're on a large waterway. And it's a steel town, so there's a lot of crud in the air anyway. But we get a lot of humidity in the summer.
Oh, no.
Yes, we do. And we typically get into, 90s, most of the summer. So, yeah. It was, and I mean, all she did, from what I understand, was like seal off the room, so.
Oh, whoa. I wonder if it got like in Amityville Horror with all the flies.
Oh, I bet.
Oh. Freaking maggoty.
Yeah. And, yeah.
Get all the bugs.
Well, we found out, though, Wesley,
That's scary.
There's a fetish for that.
Huh?
We found out, Wesley, on our other show, there's a fetish for that.
For bugs?
Yes. There's a fetish for having your body covered in bugs.
All right.
Yeah. The name escapes me at the moment, but it's out there.
All right.
Yeah. Ugh. So, yes, that was my lovely neighbor town. Luckily, I don't think that's ever happened in my town, but you never know.
That you know of.
That I know of, exactly. So, ugh.
So, do either of you have live in areas that have religious exemptions for medical stuff?
Kind of.
Luckily, I know I don't.
Well, sorta.
Well, we get it.
I know. Well, the Scheibel case.
Well, we get it in the news fairly regularly. Go ahead.
Oh no, you finish yours.
Okay. There tends to be in the province some court case every year or two regarding some freako religious family who doesn't want to treat their child, and we have there's Jehovah's Witnesses all over the place, and a recent one, and I don't think it was in Ontario, I think it was in one of the western provinces, where there was a native family, and the child had some kind of cancer, and they didn't want to pursue regular medical treatment, and they actually won.
Yeah. She went through chemo for a couple sessions, and it made her feel bad.
Yeah.
Like, there's no surprise there. But she had a high 90s, I think,
95,
chance.
95%.
Yep.
And, yeah.
With the chemo.
Yeah.
Well, the sad thing about that
is... that without treatment.
With her name is Michaela. I've been following that case because now there's a second case as well. And the problem with that is it's a First Nations issue. She is Native American. And Canada is very, what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, we try to give them more leeway to govern their own affairs, which has gotten us into trouble more than once with various things.
What makes Michaela's case really unique, though, is her mother and father are ministers. They're not just Native American. Okay, so the problem is they were saying that they were going to treat her with native medicine. Well, going down to Florida being treated by a pseudo doctor is not native medicine. And that, my personal opinion of that is where the Canadian courts have erred. But with Michaela's case, it's very sticky because you have the whole First Nations issue.
As I recall, that doctor doesn't have a license.
No, he does not. I've actually in fact, there's a second child also that is same, and the Canadian part of the Canadian government that's responsible for it, I can't remember the title, CSP, I think, also ruled the same way that they can seek their own course of treatment. And supposedly Michaela is relapsed. although
shit.
the family is disputing that. Yeah, Hemet has actually been following the case as well,
Yeah.
Friendly Atheist, but yeah,
Right.
that case is sticky because with even in the States, First Nations, they are basically a sovereign nation within a nation. So
Mhm.
our court system, and I know Canada is very strict on it, they do not intervene. Although I disagree with it, but
Yeah.
you know.
It's negligence, pure and
But I
simple.
think,
It is.
yeah,
Doesn't matter
yeah,
who
and
you
that's
are.
what it comes to. I mean, if they were sticking with strictly native treatment, shamanism, whatever, I could see that. But they went to
Yeah.
Florida, okay.
Yeah, that's
And
different.
and the thing is, like the one YouTube interview when this case first started, she had actually said she had seen Jesus.
Oh, here
So
we go. Fuck.
yeah, see, and he said you're already healed.
Of course. Except for that whole
So
relapse thing. Yeah.
well, they're disputing the relapse. If I remember correctly, the doctor down in Florida said that it's getting the icky chemo and radiation crap out of her system, and that's why she's
Oh,
not feeling
of
good,
course,
or
of
something
course.
along that line.
Uh,
But yeah, that's a tough case because I mean, the type of leukemia she has a 95% success rate with a 2-year course of treatment. And she stopped after, I believe, 3 months because anybody that's had to go through chemo or radiation knows it makes you really sick. And
This should be
it's
an open and shut case.
travesty on the parent.
well, it should.
This should be an open and shut case. Like, all right,
Yeah.
kid's sick, get kid help.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
You do whatever wacky shit you want with your own self, but a minor doesn't. And the worst thing is a lot of times these families convince the child that that's what they want to do, but they don't have the capacity to really understand what that impact is.
The kids sometimes might not understand that short-term thing that, you know what, you're going to feel like shit for a while, but you're going to live.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, there was a case last year. I think it was out of Chicago, Midwest area. He was 16, and because of his age, the courts allowed him, and I think it was due to religious reasons, to stop his treatment. And he actually went to court and he won. And again, it's a similar situation, although he was older. I mean, Michaela's only 12.
But I'm sorry, I was a religious freak until I was 17, and I would have made stupid decisions like that probably then too. But well,
and that's the brainwashing.
Exactly. I'm sorry, but there should be, anybody who has been raised in only one faith, that should be a red flag right there, because they don't really have the true capacity to choice, because they don't know what else is out there to even think about choosing. That's why I say, pure indoctrination is child abuse. It absolutely is child abuse.
Yeah.
If you don't give your child the tools to make an informed choice about that, then you're robbing them of any choice whatsoever.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it.
And that's the thing. I mean, where I live here in PA, as far as faith killing issues, there hasn't been any local ones, but I know in Philly, the Scheibel case.
Yes.
Now they were both convicted. Not only did they kill one child, they killed a second child.
How the fuck does that happen?
Well, they were put on probation and told that they had to check in with children and youth services, and of course, with the budget cuts, that's one of the areas that were cut. I mean, you got caseworkers that have 40, 50, 60, 70 families that they're supposed to keep track of.
Yeah.
And, then the Rossiter case out of Oregon, they just got convicted.
Oh, damn.
And now Idaho, there's actually a petition going around to get Idaho to change their laws to remove the religious shield law, is what it's called, for faith healing with children. And if you're an adult, go for it, but not with a child.
No.
Yeah, and those parents in Oregon, they only got convicted of manslaughter.
Yeah. And what's sad, it's a second generational thing, but that wasn't allowed to be brought up in court. I believe the wife.
There were so many kids in that one church that have died.
Yes. Yeah.
Killed.
120. Is that right?
Something.
In the last 10 years.
It was over 100.
Yeah, and it's not just in Oregon. It's the same church in Idaho, as well. I think between Oregon and Idaho, I believe they're in Montana as well. That like 120 children in the last 10 years have died because of their faith healing beliefs.
Wow.
And yeah, with the Rossiter family, I think it was the mother. She lost a brother in her childhood to the same thing because her family was in this church as well.
Thinning out the herd, man. Thinning out the herd.
Yeah. Wow.
If only it affected the adults, getting the dumb ones out of there.
Exactly. Well, and sort of on the same kind of topic, I mean, we've all heard about the Jehovah's Witnesses and they're refusing blood transfusions and shit like that. That came up in one of the articles I saw, but what was funny, so in 1964, they were also prohibited from obtaining transfusions for their pets and using fertilizer that might contain blood. And they were even encouraged to write to dog food manufacturers to verify the products were blood-free. Like, could you imagine, like, you know, oh, my dog can't have a blood transfusion because he might not make it to heaven.
Well, and the sad thing about that, the Jehovah's Witnesses justify that belief from the Bible, their interpretation of it.
Yeah.
Well, so do the Christian Scientists.
Yeah, Christian Scientists do as well. So it's like, but yet, and this is one of the issues I have specifically with Christianity, is that you can have 5 different denominations all reading the same passage, but yet coming up with a different interpretation.
Yeah.
But yet it's a revealed religion.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, I was raised Southern Baptist, but I know even in the Baptist sects, there's, hundreds of different versions of just Baptist.
Exactly.
Well, there's 33,000 Christian denominations, 10,000 of which are practiced in the United States.
And we were raised to know that all those other Baptists going to hell.
Yeah. Of course. Well, and with the Jehovah's Witnesses too, because they're like, only 144,000, and the last time they were here, they were 2 very nice young ladies, and I didn't want to fuck around with them too much because they were nice. But one of these days, I gotta ask them, so if I convert, does that mean I get your spot? Because there's only so many spots.
Yeah,
always want to ask that.
Yeah.
I'll totally out-Jew you.
Yeah. So, just
best fucking Jew ever.
Just quickly, back to the Prince Philip cult there, because Dave sent me a message. Hi, Dave. So I was pronouncing it wrong, which I figured I would, but it's the Vanuatu is the island. And Dave said that those guys are a cargo cult, which we were talking a little bit beforehand. So, Wesley,
Ah.
Wesley, you were telling me what a cargo cult is. You want to explain that again, please?
Sure. Cargo cults, the ones that I'm familiar with, started up around like World War II when the U.S. or allies, even Japan, were like airlifting supplies onto these small Pacific islands or building docks and stuff and bringing supplies onto the islands and making like a really prosperous time for all these natives on these islands. And then the war ended and the islanders are like, what the fuck? And so they started building, like bamboo radio towers and, little docks and stuff like that to bring their leaders or their
God.
religious people symbols up.
Benefactor. Their
Yeah.
religious benefactor.
And the name that I always heard was John Frum, which was never really given to one specific person, I guess, but that was their Jesus, was John Frum. And yeah, they would, light torches and hope these cargo cults, these airdrops from the sky would come back again.
Sounds almost like Gilligan's Island in a way. Building your bamboo tower to entice them to come back. They have coconut radios and stuff. That's just what I picture when you're describing it there. I'm like, it's Gilligan.
Yeah.
It kind of is.
Oh, shit.
Never thought of it that way.
That was just, especially when he mentioned building the bamboo tower. I was like, it's fucking Gilligan. I always remember him on the bamboo built stationary bike trying to provide power for shit. Pedaling his little heart out.
Yeah.
Bamboo cell tower now,
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Like a satellite phone.
Oh, you had to say cell tower. One of my con nutter friends posted a photo. I don't know if there was any text to it. I saw this briefly before I left for work, and it looks like she described it as a cypress tree. And it's actually, I guess, to her, a cell tower. But it's a hidden one.
Oh.
My.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's
Am
a
I
good
thinking,
one.
Yeah, okay.
So.
I didn't think cypress trees got that tall.
So, you guys know anything about soccer at all?
Yeah, a little bit.
So, have you heard of a guy named Maradona? No?
Mm-hmm.
You have, okay. Well, apparently, so he was a famous Argentinian football player, Diego Maradona. And he has spawned his own cult.
Oh, great.
There is the Iglesia Maradonia, which is the Church of Maradona, that was created by his fans. And they, of course, believe that he was the best soccer player of all time. And they founded it on his 38th birthday in 1998. So, but they didn't have a gathering until 2001. So now there's apparently 80,000 members of the Church of Maradona. And, yeah. So, what does it say? They count...
That's scary.
Isn't it? Like, I can see, like, there's a lot...
That is fucking scary.
There's a lot of hero worship in sports, but to actually... this is interesting. So his jersey number was... where was it here? His shirt... Yeah, his jersey number was 10. And Dios, the Spanish, so it says Veradona's shirt number and Dios, the Spanish word for God, fuses together somehow. So they call it D10S, so Dios.
Ha ha. Cute.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's just really kind of scary. I'm surprised, there hasn't been like the Church of Kobe or the Church of, Jordan or something.
Give it time.
There probably is. Yeah, the Diaz is the number 10 in Spanish, and Dios is
That makes
God.
sense.
I can see where they're getting it. But he didn't start this, right?
No.
It was his fans.
It says,
Oh, okay.
Created by his fans. So 80,000 members in more than 60 countries. Yeah. Yeah, so I know Paul's a fan of soccer, so there's one for you to look into, Paul. I forget what team he follows, but I mean, I wonder what kind of ritual they would have for that. Like,
well, I'm guessing that they won't have beheading. So I'm
Heading
like,
the ball.
no. Probably not. Maybe, dribbling or, headers or something.
Perfecting the sense of
did you say dribbling?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wrong. I don't follow sports, so dribbling's basketball.
Oh, dribbling. Okay.
Well, you dribble in soccer.
You do. I thought so. That's
Okay,
when you kick it around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay, I'm not completely crazy.
For some reason, I thought you were talking about small furry creatures. Dribbling.
Oh, gerbling.
Oh,
Yeah.
dribbling.
It's like that could go so wrong so quick.
Pretty sure that's an
Yeah.
urban legend. I wouldn't be surprised at this point if there was a church of gerbling out there. Oh shit!
I ain't touching that one with a 10-foot pole. And yes, poles are involved.
Oh, what was?
I don't know. Just ask Richard Gere about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, what was the gerbil on South Park? Lemmy Winks, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, poor Lemmy Winks.
Lemmy Winks went for a journey in Mr. Slave.
He did. Oh, all up and up around and yeah.
Yep. And there was the mystical toad, and wasn't there a sparrow or something in there too?
Holy crap! I'm gonna have to rewatch South Park some.
I think so.
I'll rewatch South Park if you watch Archer.
I will check out Archer. I know it is on the Netflix, so
It is.
I will try the Archer. And I actually remember a year or so ago, I guess when it was new, because on my vanilla Facebook, I follow Anne Rice, and she liked it. So
Oh.
yeah, I remember her commenting on that specifically. So yeah, it can't be half bad. You like it, so I'll try it. I'll try. I mean, I got nothing really good until fucking House of Cards comes back. So
I never got into that. But Orange, love Orange.
See, I haven't watched that. Oh, Kitty, it's Kitty.
Yeah, that's
Hello.
Wally.
Oh, hello, Wally. Wally's a pretty boy.
That's my boy. We go for rides.
Oh, on what? Bike?
No, in my truck. I'll get some Taco Bell. I'll bring a little can of food for him. We'll just go cruise.
Oh, Wally. So, I don't know if you can see down here.
Aww.
I've seen your cream, black and white kitty.
Yep. Nobody else does. Those two, those are the boys. They're having their nice nap there. But, actually, people in real life don't see the white cat because the minute a stranger comes to the door, he vanishes.
Really?
So, aw, Wally's such a pretty boy. Yeah.
He is. All right, go on.
Yay for kitties. I know Dave is out there going fucking cats, but that's Dave. It's alright, Dave. I still like you, even if you don't like cats. Oh shit! Now I lost my. I was distracted by the cat. What was I thinking? Kitty.
Yeah. We see cats, we go nuts.
I know. Beth's got one kicking around there too.
Well, that's what the internet's for, is porn and kitty videos.
Yeah, kitties. Well, that's only 2 out of 5. The other 3 aren't within camera range.
So the normal progression of the internet's only for porn and cat videos is porn cat videos?
Yeah.
Oh.
There used to be a website, and I don't think it's around anymore, but it was called Eroticat. And it was like, the cat sort of laid out like this and that sort of thing.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think it's around anymore, though.
It is really popular with furries. Like to anthropomorphize.
Yes. Yes, it is indeedy. Mine are pretty lazy for that. Well, and that orange one that you saw there, he's an American cat. He was born in South Dakota.
He must be really lazy then.
He is, yes. Yes, and in fact, we had to put him on a diet because seriously, that cat was like 30 pounds at one point.
Holy crap.
He was so fat that when he tried to scratch his ear, he would get like this far from his head, and he wouldn't be able to. Yeah.
Oh no.
When we first took him to the vet for checkup, the vet said the only time she had ever seen that in a cat was in one that was so pregnant she was gonna like give birth any minute. And Bob decidedly was not pregnant because, well, he's Bob.
He's just American.
Yeah, so he's been on a diet for several years, and he's normal cat size again, but yeah, he doesn't get up much. He came with the ex-husband, and I still have the cat.
You kept the better of the two, I'm guessing.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have loads of American friends, but I don't think I'll be importing anytime again soon. No offense, but... But, too, he was a southern guy from Virginia. But Bob's from South Dakota. So, there's the cat interlude there. Because there was another... Well, we could talk about cats all day, but, the internet's full of them. The internet's already full of them. But there was another one in here that was, like, seriously fucked up. Oh, yes! So, you guys know who Ed Wood is? Or was?
Yeah, the director?
Yes! Yeah. Well, there's a Church of Ed Wood.
Nice!
Yep. Yep, the Church of Ed Wood. So what do we got here? The Church of Ed Wood, or Woodism, labels itself a pop culture religion that hopes to bring spirituality to those who don't find it in more mainstream religions. It says a, quote, punk libertarian religion, if you will. They look upon Ed Wood as a savior, but as the church notes, not the savior, so just a savior. Tenets include upholding the morals and ideals of Edward Wood, preaching Ed's message of total understanding and acceptance regardless of what modern-day society may say. And, of course, Wood was a transvestite in 1950s America. Probably not a fun time to be into that sort of thing. It says that they claim to have over 3,000 legal Woodites in the world.
I'll bet you it's probably way better than Christianity.
Hell yeah!
The cool thing, when I go to their website, edwood.org, The first
Yes.
thing that happens is there's a little pop-up I get. It says, page at edwood.org says, to answer your first question, yes, we're totally serious. Okay.
I wonder if Angora sweaters are religious attire. They ought to be. Well, that was Ed's favorite, Angora sweaters. I've had an Angora sweater. They're damn fuzzy and soft. So I can kind of see where he's coming from. I actually, because I'm a Bela Lugosi fan, and as you may know, Bela starred in a number of Ed Wood flicks. So my favorite one was, I forget, it might have been Plan 9, I forget, where Bela Lugosi is like wrestling a giant fake octopus in a pond. That was classic. Very classic. But yeah, so yeah, Church of Ed Wood.
Oh gosh.
I swear, there's got to be literally a church of anything out there. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, some of the weird shit is not weird funny, like Heaven's Gate. You guys remember them?
Oh,
Yeah.
God, yeah.
Ugh.
Yep.
That was, like, ew. So, yeah, mass suicides. Yay. Which, of course, the penultimate of those. Jonestown. Yep. Yeah.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Yeah. Well, and I was just
David
reading...
Koresh.
David
Yeah.
Koresh.
What
That's
that,
another
103 toasty Americans?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And what is it with fucking cult leaders that they always end up wanting to bang young girls? Like, that's just...
I believe the answer you're looking for is because they can.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Probably. Because there was another
because
one...
they've done everything else.
There's another one in the States. It was a black cult, and I can't remember the name of it, but the, quote, father, they ended up, a bunch of them burning to death, too.
Oh, the Philadelphia row houses back in the 70s.
Yes.
Oh, Christ, I'm drawing a blank on the name.
Man,
I know.
They just had, in fact, I want to say the movement, but that's not right.
No,
I
think it was the movement, because I watched
1978.
Yeah, I watched a documentary. There's a documentary about it on Netflix that I watched not too long ago, and of course, yeah, go ahead.
But I just like with Warren Jeffs.
Yes. Oh,
from the LDS. Yeah, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, FF. Yeah, and
the story of. I think it was the story of Move, not Movement.
Yeah,
Move.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, it was
John
Move.
Africa.
And
yes, the Africa family. That's it.
Yep. Yeah, that happened. I think it was in '78, if I remember correctly. Around that time, maybe 80.
It was the late '70s. Yeah.
Yep, founded in '72, major in Securt in '78.
Yeah. That was some fucked up shit too, because they were walking around the neighborhood with assault rifles.
Holy shit!
And they built like a bunker on top of the row house for them all to like be able to battle the authorities. Excuse me. Yeah, that was.
And the scary thing is some of the survivors of that are rebuilding the group.
Well, here's the part I was holy shitting about. Looking on Wikipedia, in 1985, the group made national news when police dropped a bomb on the Osage house from a helicopter in an attempt to end an armed standoff.
And the whole block burnt down.
Yeah, the explosion in ensuing fire killed 11 people, including 5 children and the group's leader, John Africa.
Yes.
Only 2 occupants survived, Ramona, an adult, and Birdie, a child. In addition, approximately 60 other non-move affiliated homes were destroyed as the fire burned the entire block.
That's right.
Holy crap.
Yeah, and in the movie that I watched on Netflix, they showed all kinds of footage from when this happened. They had interviewed some of the neighbors, like when it started, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you know, hopefully it'll be all under control soon." And next thing you know, like all their houses are being burnt down too. Like the whole block was leveled.
It was bad.
Because those dumb idiots dropped a bomb on a row house. Like, what did they think was going to happen?
Yeah, you're having a standoff and you're like, screw it, I'm just going to fucking bomb them?
Yeah, in a residential neighborhood.
Answer?
When there's children in the place.
That is crazy.
Very crazy. Very, very crazy. And it's like, you know, when there's a cult involved, it's like the authorities just lose their shit. You know, it's like they don't know how to. It's like, oh, cult, we have to just go crazy and shoot them and bomb the fuck out of them, and I mean,
I think part of the problem with that, and that goes back to what you had asked, is, you know, why do they get away with bopping the children? And I think what it is that people really don't understand the cult mindset.
True.
I mean, and I do consider Christianity, I do consider Judaism, and I do consider Islam, and I consider them all cults.
Yes.
Because if you look at them, they have central form of leadership, you know. There's no challenge to the authority. You challenge that authority, you're out or dead, one of the two. You know, their beliefs are seen as totally true. So anything the leader says goes. So if he wants to fuck your 5-year-old kid, he's gonna. Or nobody can challenge him on that.
Or decide that, you know, your wife is better off with him, and too bad if you're married.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, and what struck me about the Move cult when I watched the movie, too, is that a lot of their kind of basic ideas weren't too bad. But they were trying to grow their own food and shit in the middle of Philadelphia in the urban center, which didn't work so well. And there was a lot of concern with the children looking malnourished. And I think that was part of what caused the problems to begin with, was the concern for the children.
Yeah.
Which then, let's drop a bomb on them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and the funny thing is with the whole food issue is now in places like LA, although it's still, quote, on the drawing board, they're trying to develop urban gardens to specifically feed the poor.
Yeah.
I mean, they just, they see these cults, these charismatic leaders like Koresh and like Jim Jones and the people of Move being one of the earlier ones that I remember, they see them as a challenge to the authority of the government, because a lot of these groups are anti-government to a degree.
Yeah.
Whether it's just, leave us alone, let us do our thing type, all the way up to when you get into the militias and the sovereign citizen movement.
Yeah.
And that, the government, they don't know how to handle that challenge. Nobody does, really. I mean, they overreact.
Yeah.
Instead of sitting down and, figuring out, okay, this is what they believe, how can we dismantle this? And where these cults grow is when stuff like this happens, people become sympathetic. I mean,
and the majority of them teach some kind of, everyone's out to get us philosophy. Yes. And so when authorities get heavy-handed, that just plays right into the bullshit that they're already preaching. Because that was...
I mean,
like with...
They manipulate...
Yeah, I was just going to say that was a big problem with Koresh. because he had been preaching that, the government was going to come and get them at some point, and that, oh, look, there's the government come to get us. Well, aren't I right?
Yeah. Like Machiavelli said, yes, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yep, this is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was one more, because we're getting near the end, but there was, what the hell was it now? There's one more I wanted to mention, and it's just gone right out of my head. Wouldn't you know it? Damn it. Oh, well. I guess it wasn't that earth-shattering, because I've completely forgotten what it was now. Oh, well. But we've definitely covered a lot. Oh, have you guys ever heard of the Jains?
Oh, yeah. The one religion that Sam Harris likes. Ish.
Yes. Ish. Well, what gets me is like the really the extreme ones. First of all, they don't wear any clothes. And what I found interesting, what I read was they don't consider themselves to be nude. They are wearing the environment.
Yeah, dirt.
But I've also heard that, like, some extremists, they'll walk around with, like, a mask on their face because they don't want to breathe in anything that they might kill by breathing it in.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty whacked as well. I mean, at least most of them are in India, so being naked in India, I guess, isn't too bad. You're not going to see very many Canadian Jain aesthetics. Because, yeah, that just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So, we're getting near the end here, so before we wrap things up, Wesley, is there anything you want to plug or talk about, or?
Well, I can give quick plugs here. Sure.
Absolutely.
Starting with the podcast that I co-host with Dustin, who is a former Seventh-day Adventist pastor, almost. Really awesome guy. But, atheistnomads.com podcast. We've had everybody from David Silverman to JT Eberhard and so many other amazing people in between. Our last guest was Stephanie Normason from the JREF Foundation. But yeah, anyways, that. I'm also part of founded a couple local skeptics and atheist groups out around here, but we kind of keep those private, so I guess I should not really talk about those.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. And of course, we highly recommend listening to Wesley and Dustin because they're cool and they talk about cool shit. Of course. I love your day in history segment because I'm a history nerd. So anything about history, I'm like, ooh, history. So that's very informative as well. So
I'll be recording tomorrow.
Sweet. And Beth, you got anything on the go you want to yap about? Your blog or something?
Nothing specific.
Okay.
Yeah, just my blog. As I said, I'm working on
Okay.
working on that mess.
So
it's gonna get longer.
Well,
You'll know where to find me.
One really important thing is this Sunday, Atheists on Air is back for the December episode. So Cash and Professor Steven, and they have a wonderful guest whose name escapes me at the moment. Is that terrible? Oh, I'll scroll up. And Rachel Brown, yes, paleontologist. As it says here, paleontologist and general know-it-all. So they will be on Sunday at 7 p.m. Being it's monthly, who knows how many hours it'll go on this time. Last month we were on for 5 hours. So yeah, it was a little bit. Well, part of that was because Cash tried to go offline at the 4th hour mark, and for whatever reason the Hangout wasn't cooperating, so we just kept talking for another hour. Which was fun. So yeah, everybody come back, and I'm sure everybody will anyway, because we're all dying to hear Cash again, and he's got a month worth of Pastor Roy and calls and all kinds of that cool shit to make us happy again.
Yeah,
and
his recent trollathon today.
Yeah. Oh, yes, that's right. We forgot to mention that guy. So Cash posted a picture about the real origins of the candy cane, because people like to say it says J for Jesus and all that shit, and the end of it was fuck Jesus, which was awesome. And some guy commented, and Cash said he's seen this guy around for a couple of years now, and he claims to be an atheist, but he's like, why all the anger? And that's he just keeps saying, why all the anger? And I mean, Cash answered him, a couple other people answered him, I answered him, and oh, you did? I didn't see that yet. Yeah,
I'm not missing much.
Yeah, and I gotta wonder, like, my take is, I bet you that's some guy pretending to be an atheist and just being a douche. I don't know. But, I mean, come on. Cash said, like, that his question has been answered a bazillion times over the last 2 years, and he still, like, goes around to posts about atheism is like, wow, the anger. It's like,
I'll tell you why, because I got some douchebag minister saying that I should be dead.
there is that. That is a very good one. Absolutely.
I just took the easy way out and said that, as a guy, he's basically never had his clitoris cut off.
That too.
Oh, that's a good one, too.
That is a good one.
Yes.
Or like a lot of my friends got PTSD because of having hell instilled into them.
That will do it. That is...
Or being forced to go through an exorcism.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely.
Only to discover 10 years later you have bipolar disorder.
Damn.
Yeah.
Funny how Jesus doesn't fix that.
Nope, I prayed till I was blue in the face, kind of like the dude up in Hamilton. Didn't do me a damn bit of good.
Thankfully,
although I'm not a corpse.
I was going to say, thankfully you are not a corpse.
I don't think I'm a zombie, although there might be some question on that.
We might have trouble, keeping interest in the show if you were a corpse, so this is good. Definitely good.
Although you could freeze me.
We could.
We'll check on you in 6 months or so.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the cat might have eaten her by then. Depending on how frozen, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said you don't have much of a freezer, though, so that might be tricky.
No, my freezer's only like 2x3.
Gotta do the American thing and get a big deep freeze.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I get to do that later tonight when I go do inventory.
Because we buy in bulk.
That's right. Yeah, we only have like a small freezer, but if we wanted, we could probably put shit outside in the winter. And be fine.
Well, I could be cremated, and then you can put the ashes in the freezer.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah, but how will you get resurrected?
It's God. I mean, can't he pull that shit off? Actually, we were just talking because, you may not know, Wesley, but I had a death in the family, and we were actually at the service yesterday, and the topic came up because my aunt was cremated, and they're saying, well, you can get ashes put in shotgun shells now. Mm-hmm. Which you can, and you can even have the powder in color so that when you shoot them, it smokes in different colors and stuff. Yeah, they were not going to do that, thankfully, but we did discuss the fact that that was available to people. And I have to say, I mean, okay, all funerals suck, and you never really want to go to one, but that was the best funeral I've ever been to, if you can say that, because no God anywhere, not mentioned once, no preacher, no minister, no fucking clergy, none of
You
that
sent
shit.
them to my mom's.
I'm sorry.
I pretty much
sent them all to my mom.
Man, I pretty much just want to be cremated, then have a wake and bake. You know, just
Yeah.
like a couple $1,000, just have a fucking party.
Uh-huh.
That'd be perfect.
Well, I always threaten my college that I'm going to be cremated and then have the ashes sprinkled over the campus so I could haunt them. I went to a Christian college. So.
I'm gonna heathen your ass for all eternity. Yep. Okay, well, we're coming up on the 2-hour mark here, so Wesley, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you had fun, because we had fun. Oh, look, there's Heretic Husband with one of the kitties in the background there. With the bob. Yep, he's got the boys there. You missed it. Wesley has a nice kitty, too.
I've got one cat that I love, and the other one keeps the first one company.
Yeah, that works. That works.
I like the other one. I love him, kind of.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Some of them are kind of like, you know, I like you, but you piss me off. Well, actually, the American cat is kind of like that, because in the morning, because remember, he was alert ass, and he thinks that he should get fed like 2 hours before feeding time, which is already 6 a.m., so like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, he's like, hey, I'm starving.
Oh, hells no.
And the answer to that is, fuck off, get out of the bedroom, and shut the door. But anyway, again, Wesley, thank you so much for joining us. We're happy to have you, and yeah, all of that.
Again.
Awesome. So, and of course, Beth, thanks for hanging out. I know it sucks you have to go back to work again tonight.
Yeah. Sorry for being so unprepared tonight, but
no, it's all right. It's all right. Shit happens. Life happens, and you know, we got to roll with it. You know. So everybody, we will be back in 2 weeks because, of course, Cash is back on Sunday. So we will catch you in 2 weeks, and everybody have a fabulous week, and we'll see you then.
Awesome.